Center for Law and Policy Research, for inviting me here to share my views. As a woman, when in 2009 I was appointed in the Delhi High Court as a judge, I was the 5th woman from the bar. And today, when we are in 2025, till now, only 11 women have been appointed from the bar. And considering the fact that Delhi High Court is a very progressive court, there are a lot of women who are working. But there are a number of reasons for it. See, law is nothing but an embodiment of our societal demands. And the Constitution guarantees, by way of preamble, fundamental rights, and directive principles, that there should be equal representation, though it's not a written rule that you should have from every sphere of life, every caste, religion. But in the High Courts and Supreme Court, especially in Supreme Court, it is considered that representations to all geographically and religiously, caste-wise, people should be there, representation should be there. But when it comes to representation of gender, that is an abysmal low. And there are certain reasons for it. As Ms. Jaina put, when an appointment takes place to the High Court, it is 2/3 from the bar and 1/3 from the services. Now that 1/3 from the services, initially there used to be 10 to 20% when the services started, women who would join the services after taking the exams, getting to the interview. But slowly, in Delhi at least, I can say, today in the services we get 60 to 70% women. Now, on that stream, things are getting better. But the problem is, if a girl or anybody is selected today as a judicial officer, it takes around 20 years to come to the High Court. By the time many of them get retired, or they get a very short tenure even if they come. So once a person comes from the services, the tenure is hardly 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. A very few get a tenure of 7 to 8 years or 10 years. Now, as far as the bar is concerned, that 2/3 representation from the bar. In the year 1984, when I started practice, there were hardly very few women in the profession. Even if law colleges had women, come July, you would see number of girls joining the profession, getting themselves enrolled. They would join some chambers, but by the end of the year, some of them get married and go to the other destinations. Another few years later, when it comes to the delivery of the child, there is again a break. And I'll just give systematically how the breaks occur. If you start, the earliest age when one becomes a High Court judge is 45 years. Now, even if you start the profession at 23 or 25, so the earliest you need that time period of 20 to 20 years, continuous hard work to show that yes, you are a lawyer who has some standing, recognition, and you can be considered for direct elevation to judgeship. Now that 22 years gestation period is a very, very long period for women, considering the breaks they have to give. First, at the time of marriage, whether you get married in the same city or some other city. Then at the time of childbirth, at least 6 months, 1 year down the line. Then the demands of the family. And as you grow old, your parents also need time because they are aging, they are 80 years. And all of us have given. With all those pressures, to be able to maintain that you are still surviving in the profession and working is a big thing, biggest challenge. Second biggest challenge is when it comes to a woman lawyer, there are very, very few clients who repose confidence. They would get carried away by a man lawyer, but when it is a woman lawyer, she has to have to show a metal 10 times for the people to say that yes, she will be able to argue, defend them, get them speak up what they want. And I don't know how many of you are from the legal profession. If you are into litigation, you would find that starking difference even today. They would prefer a man lawyer than a woman lawyer. And one of the major reasons for that is in our corporate sectors, as CEOs or businesses, you won't find women at the top. They may be in the service, but the domination is always of the owner, who is mostly the men. So he finds it comfortable to talk to a male lawyer whom he can even call up at 10 o'clock at night or say, come outside and have a meeting over here. A woman will think 10 times that whether should I go to an outside place or a hotel to meet and somebody, even if you are sitting in a coffee shop. So there are so many constraints for a woman to be getting those briefs. And to be able to continue to get those briefs for 22 years is one of the biggest challenge. So what happens? Because she has either to shift the city or takes a breaks, slowly and steadily when they find that the work is not coming to them, they start drifting to as law officers in the bank, PSUs, or taking corporate jobs, or probably be a junior in a lawyer's chamber, things like that. To be able to establish your independent practice where you are the lead counsel is a big challenge. And if you see, many of us who also came through in the higher judiciary were mostly those who got breaks through the government panels. So the two of us who are sitting got breaks through the government panels. Now, of course, government is important, but unless the private sector does it, it is very difficult to women to show that mettle and to be able to survive in that competitive legal profession, which is very highly competitive, for 22 to 25 to 26 years and still say, yes, I am one of the best entitled to be considered for the elevation. The other problems which then come up is, even if a woman comes into the profession, what do you find her doing? Matrimonial matters, family matters. Why can't she do high commercial matters? Why can't she do hardcore criminal matters? She can do all constitutional matters also. That is one of the biggest problem, because that sector of client does not come to her. Some of the women lawyers who are now designated seniors, say take it for income tax or doing commercial litigations, were those who joined in good chambers, leading chambers, where again it was a male domination, but because of their hard work and persistent hard work under that patronage, clients started recognizing them that yes, they can also deliver the results, and then started engaging them independently. Or else you will find them doing service matters. But as long as they don't do all those international arbitration, international matters, high stake matters, where do you see the woman flourishing? I am not saying for a moment that family matters or matrimonial matters have to take a back seat, or they're not contentious, they don't need hard work. But why throw them away to that sectors? Again, then when the woman becomes a judge, I'll tell you what happens. She joins the judiciary as a magistrate. Out of 10 years, 7 to 8 she is holding the Mahila court. She becomes an additional session judge. She is either doing the family courts or the POXO courts. And when again fortunately in the High Court, it's a mix of rosters, so they get all kind of rosters. But see the way systematically things are sidelines. The women are competent to deal with constitutional matters. When I started as a criminal lawyer, I think on the private side in the Delhi High Court, there was just one more lawyer who was on the criminal side. And to be able to get that yes, we can also deliver in this field, it was a big challenge. It was not a cushy work. So you have to actually perform 10 times more to deliver that yes, you are one of the best entitled to consider, and for a persistently long time. That is the challenge. Now what happens is, when the ratio of women is less as compared to men, obviously their chances of becoming judges as the High Court, there is no written examination. Today you make High Court examination, for High Court judges, written examination, I am sure girls will excel better. It's not, you make it like the judicial services, you make High Court judgeship as a written examination, girls will excel. And you will find more girls coming into it. These challenges keep them away from that mainstream to be consistently performing for so long. Then, even if there are a few who excel and are able to deliver goods, do they represent the entire strata of society? When we talk about inclusivity and diversity, we say in higher judiciary we should have from same religion, caste, social standards. But then, do you think women in marginalized section get those opportunities to be able to show that result and come up to the top? Many of them who have been good lawyers, mind you, mostly have support backing of their families. And you don't need that family backing only professionally, but also at the home front, there is somebody to take care. So you can spend till 12 o'clock, you're working in the chamber, because tomorrow you have a contentious matter. You're preparing for the matter, there's somebody to look after you. Your house, your needs, your children, your family, everything. Now, in such situation, the women who are marginalized, who do not have support system, who do not have means to sustain in this long gestation period of 20, 25 years, somewhere drift apart and take other vocations. And that is the reason that when it comes to consideration for a High Court judge, your zone of consideration becomes very limited. It's only a catchment of few women you have. You will see not more than 4 or 5 available, even now in the best of the High Courts, who have been able to struggle that long and have been able to maintain. And mind you, for different stratas of society marginalized, this is far, far, far difficult. Now, what are the support systems we give them? We don't give any. For the first time, now we are starting creches all over the country. I remember when I opened the creche in the Delhi High Court, which was inaugurated by Justice Nagaratna, there were young girls who were crying that today we get a support. At least we can leave the child over there. We are not scared that the child will be not looked after. There is, if the exam is there, she has to go back and teach the child. So there are so many responsibilities which are unwritten, but she is the one who has to take over. And mind you, legal profession, when you're a lawyer, it is, I always call it's a daily wager profession. The client may come or may not come. You can't afford to close your office for 10 days. The moment you close, you'll be just written off like anything. I was at a conference and one of the young lawyers from a corporate said that yes, unless we get cooperation, we cannot move forward. I said, you are in a corporate sector where you get a maternity leave for 6 months because the earning is by the boss and you get your salary. You get a paid 6 months leave. But a litigating lawyer is like a daily wager. She works till the last day of her giving birth to the child and rejoins within 15 days because she has to strive into it. And this is that 2/3. She has to compete in that 2/3 seats for such a long time to reach there. Every day, every hour, every month is a struggle for her. So that is the kind of problems which the women face when it comes to coming to higher judiciary. I think this is some views from my practical experience which I wanted to share, that we need to look at the other side why we are not getting more women when we come to selections in the higher judiciary. And unless and until we answer these questions, these problems, provide them means to grow, identify good, competent, young lawyers at the initial stage, groom them, give them that environment, we will not get that catchment to make them High Court judges and to the Supreme Court directly. It's more than 60 years, and imagine a Delhi High Court. I was the 5th judge from the bar, and today, till now, we have 11 from the bar. And in a place like Delhi, the kind of struggle which is required now. Delhi, of course, there is an advantage. Everybody is in a reach to the High Court. Look at a woman lawyer in Karnataka who is living in a suburb or in a village. She only has an access to a Tehsil court or a district court maximum. Can she dream of coming and practicing, daily reaching out to the High Court? And unless she comes to the High Court and the judges see her performance, how will she come in a consideration zone? I'm sure at the district level, you must be having lots and lots of women lawyers who are practicing. But the selection is by a collegium of the High Court judges. When do they see their excellence? When do they see their merit? They don't get a chance to see. The girls don't get a chance to show that. So there are so many root causes which we need to analyze, address before we say that we must have a representation. I am not for a minute saying that when it has to be representation in the higher judiciary of women, merit is to be compromised. Please get the best of the merit. Best of the merit, there are many women who have it. But to identify, to get them to the High Court, the collegiums will have to go to the district courts. The collegiums will have to give them an opportunity to show their point by appointing them amicus, by giving them all the facilities they need, and then see and get them. And that's where we will have that inclusivity and diversity which our constitution mandates. Thank you very much. before you go to the question, I have a slight divergence of opinion from both the other panelists when they say one recommendation should be totally of women. You know, the take on that is what happens in our system is we have appointments, say not every year, but after 3-4 years. With the result, who are meritorious and good, once they are out of 45 and reach the age of 49, 48, 49, they are reluctant to come forward. Many times it happens, the more meritorious candidate says, not now, we are not inclined to take up the services now. If we have similarly in one go all the women, you know, they'll retire at a certain place. They say, we've done the reservation and now since they are enough, we will not. And it will also compromise on the merit. See, first thing for an appointment to a High Court or Supreme Court judiciary is merit. Merit can never be compromised. Instead of that, there should be yearly appointment so that from each batch, you get the best of the men and best of the women out of it. With the result, this will be a continuous flow and not that you once appoint, say, 5 women and suddenly after 10 years or 8 years, you find all 5 have gone and you've not worked in between. So my take is that these appointments in the High Court should be every year so that you get the best of the merit, whether it is men, women, everybody, considering the various. So there will be a steady stream of people representing there and a continuous flow thereafter, and suddenly you will not be blank one day. And you have the best of the merits.
Yes.